Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming tonight.
So before we jump in, just a couple of pieces. We are going to have some time throughout to answer some questions. So if you have a question as we're moving through things, please feel free to type it in the chat. And it lets you know there what you can do to get to that. And then we will have some time at the end for Q&A as well. And the webinar works a little bit differently than the Zoom meetings that our kids are in during the day. So in order to ask a question, you just have to raise your hand digitally so that then we know to unmute you so you can ask your question. For those of you I don't know, my name is Sarah Lamb-Christensen, and I'm the Assistant Director for Teaching and Learning. I also am a Parkrose parent with 2 boys in elementary school, so I am experiencing the whole distance learning thing along with you all as well. So today, we're going to talk mostly about the iReady diagnostic or test, as well as what the iReady program is. We're going to learn what iReady does for our students, how we use it. We'll talk about how the diagnostic is going to work at home this year and give you some tips on how to support that. Then we'll also explore a little bit of some resources, give you some resources for supporting then the learning that happens afterward. And then, like I said, give you some time to ask some questions too. So as I said before, if questions come up as we go, just type those in the chat and we've got folks that are monitoring that. So what is iReady? iReady is several different parts. First, it was built from college and career readiness standards in reading and math. And the idea is that it starts with assessment, which is what we're going to talk the bulk of today about. And what this assessment does is it provides insight into student learning across the whole K-12 spectrum so that then teachers can figure out where strengths are and where areas of needs are. It also then helps set some attainable goals for students to reach that then will set them on that path to proficiency. And then it creates personalized online lessons for kids that then set that pathway and provide games and activities that kids can do to build upon their strengths and to build those skills that they don't have yet. And it also provides resources for teachers then to use based on that information for their whole class and their small group instruction. So that's just kind of a broad overview of what it is. It starts with the iReady diagnostic, and this is an adaptive assessment. So it's not like a typical test that we would take, right? I remember my tests from school and you studied and you had to know the answers. This is different because the idea is not that we're giving a score or a grade, but instead we're trying to figure out what your student knows and what they don't know yet. And so it's adaptive in the sense that its questions adjust to meet your students' needs. And how this works is students begin the diagnostic with an item that's 1 grade below their actual grade level. And then as students answer correctly or incorrectly, the diagnostic adapts to provide more challenging or less challenging items. And then it continues to adapt based on students' responses until it generates an overall performance for students. So really pinpoints where students are having success and where they're struggling to get an actual performance level. So what this means, and this is why it makes it different, is that students on this diagnostic will get about 50% of the items correct and about 50% incorrect, and that's okay. So we wanna make sure that you know that, so that as your student is taking this diagnostic from home, if you start seeing really difficult questions and you're thinking, wow, that is way above this grade level, that's because the student's answering questions correctly, and then iReady is responding to try to figure out where that level is. We also talk with students about this as well and let them know that this isn't a test where we expect you to get everything correct. So the way that we talk with students about it is we say, some questions are going to be really hard, some questions super easy, and some questions are just right. So before students start this diagnostic, Teachers.
Excuse me, Sarah.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could you slow down a little bit for our interpreters?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no problem. Please do let me know. I get talking and I just want to talk about it, right? So as students are taught by their teachers about this assessment next week, this is kind of how we frame it. And that's really important because we want kids to know that they don't have to get it all correct. And we want kids to know that they're going to see questions that are going to be challenging for them and that that's okay. So any questions in the chat right now, Michael, about any of that so far? You're muted, Michael, sorry.
You think after all day being on Zoom, I would not be muted, but no, we don't have any questions, just the request to slow down a little bit for.
I can definitely do that. My apologies.
No worries.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about some things we can do at home before the assessment to help prepare kids. So first up, logging in. And I know that sometimes, at least in my household, on some days, this is the most challenging part. Although as an elementary school parent, I have definitely appreciated the badges that we have for Clever. So if you're on a district Chromebook, you log in through Clever, and then you're clicking on that iReady icon and your child's already logged in. It's super easy. On your personal computer, there's just one additional step to get to iReady, is to go to our website and then find Clever in the corner, and then you log in, click on iReady, and you're there. It is also available on the iPad as well, but in order to access it via the iPad, you do have to download those two apps, the iReady Connect for Students and the Clever app. And then it's the same, you log in through Clever, click on iReady, you're logged in. Timing is really important with this diagnostic. So I wanted to share a little bit about that. Your teachers will tell you when to begin. So K-5 begins October 5th, and kindergarten through 5th grade will be taking 2 diagnostics. So they will take math and they will take reading. We'll start with math first. 6-8 will begin on October 19th, and they just take math. The test takes about 45 to 60 minutes or so for students to complete. And they shouldn't complete it all in one sitting. So we say 15 to 20-minute chunks of time really is good for you to work on it. And so don't expect that they have to finish in the full 60 minutes. Selecting the right place is really important too. So just like we try to set up students in a good space to work at home during the day, we also want to make sure that they have a great space to work as well for this assessment. There is audio components to it, so headphones are great if you have those, just to help with that focus. And then also gathering supplies. It is totally fine for students to use a pencil and a paper. We want them to have access to the tools that they typically would use to solve things. And so we do encourage kids to have that next to them so that then they can really solve things on the pen with the pen and paper or with the things they would typically have. Any questions in the chat so far? Oh, you're on mute again, Michael.
No, but we do have a hand raised, so I'm gonna just go to Harmony and give her a chance to ask the question, because Hi, Harmony, do you have a question? I did send a chat to Harmony, but she did have her hand up, so I was trying to.
Oh, sorry. I was also just muted. I didn't have a question. I think I did the hand raise by mistake earlier.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
Right.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I had to promote you to panelist because it wouldn't let me talk.
I know. I'm like, oh no, they just said my name. What did I do?
All right, I'll put you back as an attendee, and please let us know if you have any questions.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so a little bit about during the assessment. So when your students log in, so they've gone in through Clever, and they've clicked on the iReady, and then they are going to be shown this screen. Some districts that use iReady are giving that opportunity or have that opportunity because they're in school to take it in person at school. And so the first thing that's going to pop up is that survey. And that's really so iReady knows where kids are taking it. So we aren't going to be clicking yes, unfortunately. We'll be clicking no, that we're taking that diagnostic at home. Then the green arrow will bring them into their dashboard. So students in K-5 have a dashboard that include both reading and math. Again, 6-8 will only have math as an option. Click on the book for reading, click on the math for math. So math is going to come out first for our K-5 students. So when they click on math, they're going to be brought into the diagnostic screen. And it's as simple as clicking on that green button to start the diagnostic. When students go into the diagnostic, there's some training that happens for them first. So they have a video that they're going to watch that will tell them a little bit about it. Teachers also are going to be talking to classes too, and giving them some training as well during their Zoom meetings. And then the nice thing is that they actually get some training as well right when they log in about the different tools that are there, how to answer questions, how to check their progress, how to use some of the tools that are built into it to help them solve problems. They have to click on all of them before they can press start. So it won't let them start the test until they've actually gone through the training pieces. So just a couple of tips as your child is taking this diagnostic at home, just making sure that kids are using that pen and paper if they need to draw a picture, to write a math problem, to support what they're showing online. And if your student seems tired or is getting frustrated, just let them take a break. That's totally, completely fine. Like we said before, the whole test takes about 60 minutes, but we have 3 weeks to get these done. And so do take it in 15-minute chunks. The system remembers where students left off and will just automatically pick it right back up when your student logs in again. And then most importantly, and this is the hardest one sometimes as parents, is please don't answer any questions for your student. Because this is adaptive and because those questions get hard, and I've seen the test, and it's just so, it's in our nature, right, as parents, to want to help our kids. And this is the one time where we're saying, please don't. So helping looks like reading a passage to a student, unless otherwise specified in, if your student has an IEP and that's part of their plan, and your special education teachers will be working with you around that. Helping could be giving alternative strategies when they're stuck, giving them an answer. So just, we really want to make sure that we're getting the best possible pathway for kids, so that when they do get that pathway to work, they aren't getting frustrated because it's too hard or too easy for them. But do know, again, that some of the questions will be difficult, and that's okay. And so we just want to encourage them to do the best answer. If they don't know it, that's fine. Just choose the answer that works best. Any questions there, Michael?
No, we don't have any questions that I can see. I got a few messages saying that some folks were having a hard time getting in, so we're working on that piece, but otherwise,
great.
We're okay.
So the best part of the diagnostic is after. Oh,
sorry, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like we had somebody who just got in. For our audience, and obviously for other folks who are wanting to know about this, we are recording this, and we will post this recording so that families can watch this and see it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So after the assessment, so the great thing about this, and like we talked a little bit about at the beginning, is that this really does a couple of things. One, by taking this diagnostic, teachers get the information that they need to really provide instruction for students. But then it also creates an individual online instruction path that kids can work on at their own pace with lessons that are targeted exactly at the things that they weren't comfortable with on the diagnostic. And that's individual for every child. When they finish, they get this congratulatory message. And if there's any questions at all, if you're not sure if your student actually has completed the assessment, if you just check in with your child's teacher, they can go ahead and look right in our database to make sure that indeed the assessment is done. So that's the K2 confirmation screen. For 3-8, the confirmation screen looks like this. And then there are some tabs on the bottom, which then can take them back to their dashboard, because as soon as they take that diagnostic, they're assigned their pathway as well. So they can go into that to-do and the My Progress to take them back into their individual pathway. The other piece it provides for you, and this is just a sample student, but is a report then for you as well that teachers will share at our conferences in November that let you know where your student is in different areas in math, K8, and then in math and reading for K5. And teachers use this as well then to help students during their small groups and their whole group instruction too. It also sets, you'll see that kind of green band right there and those that dashed line there. Those are the goals that are set by iReady as well. So it also lets teachers and you know how students are growing. I want to talk just a little bit about that personalized instruction, because that is a piece that will become part of our distance learning in our classrooms. So as I said before, it really is set by that diagnostic, and the system pushes out different games, different activities that students can engage in to meet the skills that they don't have yet. K2 dashboard looks like this when they log into iReady. So they can choose either reading or math in K5, and they can work on them. If they want to work on math for a little bit and then go to reading for a little bit, they can. The idea over the course of the week is in math that you've spent 30 to 45 minutes during the week on math, and the same on reading over the course of the entire week. So then if they click on one of their subjects, they're taken into this screen, to their dashboard. And on this, they have their to-do list, and that's going to show a couple of different things. They can either view teacher assigned lessons, which appear right here. So teachers have the option of looking at that data and saying, hey, I really would like to work with this student or this small group on a certain lesson. So they can push that lesson out. So those are teacher assigned lessons. And they have kind of a scrolling list. If they want to see there, they can scroll down to see the lessons that are past due or the lessons that are due first. And then they also have the My Path. And that is what is set for students by that diagnostic. Students can click on the My Progress, and the My Progress shows them the reading lessons they've passed. After every activity or lesson, there's a quick little skills check. They can see their lesson streak and just kind of celebrate when they see that growth happening. And then there's also a section for completed work too. So this is a nice thing to know about as a parent, because you can see what work they've done. You can see there if they struggled with one of the lessons. And the nice thing about iReady is if they do struggle, then the system recognizes that and will give them some more instruction. And then what happens is that if they continue to struggle, if I'm the classroom teacher, then I get a message saying that this student is struggling, so that then I can go in and meet with the student or meet with a small group and really work on what that skill is. But this is a great place to look to as a parent to know what your student is finishing in iReady. They also have kind of a little celebration area where they can earn rewards, that then they can change the characters that appear and play games, and that's under the My Stuff tab. The 3.8 dashboard looks very similar as the K2. So same pieces, you have the to-do list, and you can see the assignments there by teacher on that to-do list. You can see past due again. There's the My Path made by the Diagnostic. Students can still check their progress. And then the completed work tab is there as well, so that they can also go in, or you can go in and see what they've completed. And then they also have some personalization that they can do and games that are pushed out as well. So Michael, I'm going to stop there for a minute. Any questions that came up?
Yeah, so one question that came up was regarding about skipping questions. And I originally answered that you possibly could, but this being an adaptive test, meaning if your child's stuck and they just don't know how to solve it, I just recommend that they make their best guess, because this is really about figuring out what they know, so that the practice they have is really based on what they need for the math practice online.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That is correct. You can't on the Diagnostic skip any questions. And teachers will talk with students about it for sure. But that's why that conversation around how exactly what this test is, right? Because we have this idea about what tests are, and this isn't like your typical test. We want you to answer and just try your hardest. Even if you don't know, that's going to give the teacher the information they need.
The other thing I just wanted to confirm, I know that was shared earlier, October 5th is the beginning date for elementary.
Correct.
And October 19th is the beginning for middle school.
Correct. Yep. And so teachers, I know this week elementary teachers, tomorrow and on Monday will be preparing students, and you should get information from your classroom teachers around the time of day to log in. Teachers will be monitoring the Diagnostic in live time. So like on the teacher side, I can go in and see which kids are taking it. I can go in and see how far kids are along. I can even see if a kid is struggling with it to get it completed. So that is a support that we will be looking at on our end. Your teacher should convey how to get a hold of them if they have trouble. I know that some teachers are just planning on being in their Zoom rooms so that you can drop in with your student if you need to, or you can use our Remind system as well to contact teachers as well with that.
The only other thing, Sarah, before you move on is I just wanted to confirm, you may know the answer, but we may have to ask Jason to chime in. Once this is recorded and we post the recording, is it present on the front of the web page, or how can parents find the recording once that's ready to go?
That's a perfect segue, Michael, because I'm going to talk about that next.
Oh,
so
perfect.
Thank you. We couldn't have planned that better.
Okay, perfect.
Jason, if you wouldn't mind dropping in the Family Help Center link into the chat, that would be great.
Andrea just did it.
Oh, fantastic.
Thanks, Andrea.
So we're going to talk a little bit about getting support. So iReady has got all kinds of support that's the link that Jason will put in the chat too, or that Andrea will. They have all kinds of things that you can find to get yourself in the right mindset, right? Because testing at home is very new, just like everything else in this situation has been new. And then tips as well. I even like on here, there's tips in here about motivation for your child if they're struggling. And there's even linked in these documents tips for what to say if your child is having trouble with an answer, or what to say to encourage them without helping them. So I find this as a parent super helpful as well. And it is available in multiple languages through that website as well. So that's one place to get help as you're working through both the diagnostic at home and the iReady pathway. A couple of other pieces, as you go into that, you're going to see that there's also technical support as well. And then there is also that in that family center too, all kinds of videos and information you can watch just to get to know this platform better. And then on the Parkrose end, there's the Family Tech Help Portal. And this is actually where the videos get posted. So you can find this on our technology help pages, which is on our main website. You just go to the parents section and you'll see it right there. On that, you can find tutorials on all of our digital platforms. You can find tips for troubleshooting connectivity issues or login issues. The schedules for all of the schools are there. There's also info on using the district home devices, so the Chromebook or the hotspot. And if you don't find your answer there, then you also have the option of submitting a family help ticket as well. That will go to our team so that we can dig further. There are some common problems that some tips I wanted to share. You know, we've learned a ton as we have spent these first 2 weeks in digital learning. So can't get onto the iReady platform, do make sure that you are logged in via Clever. That is the best way. So that's the first thing to check. If you get logged in and your child can't access it, make sure you are in Clever first. And then if that doesn't work, you would want to let your teacher know. Zoom isn't working. We know that Zoom and Chromebooks aren't necessarily friends. But I do know that Zoom has been working on that situation and has been working on some different patches to help with that. But one piece that has been helpful is to try turning off the camera just to lower your internet data usage. And sometimes that can help with connectivity. If your district Chromebook is not working properly, first thing you'll want to do is just make sure it's up to date. And you can just do that often, you know, with laptops. I do it with my own. We just shut them. But then that doesn't actually update the Chromebooks. So you actually have to find the power button and completely power it down, and then repower it up and log back in to make sure that it updates. And then if it's still not working, that's where that family help ticket will be really handy. And then if you log in on Monday, if everything goes as planned, which we're hoping it will, if you log in on Monday, the test should be there. If you log in on Monday and it's not there, please do contact your child's teacher, and then they know to get in contact with us so that we can follow up to see what the problem is. So if nothing else today, and then we'll have some time for Q&A, these are kind of our key takeaways. That iReady, that diagnostic, super important because your child's going to get an online learning path and teachers are going to get information they need to support your student. Make sure you have a comfortable testing environment, but don't help with the assessment. And then you can go in once your student has that diagnostic and check on the dashboard yourself as well to see how instruction is going. So Michael, I'm going to stop here and just see if there's questions, and we can just move to, I'm going to stop sharing, and we can move to just raising hands if there are questions about this.
Yeah, the only thing that I wanted to comment on based on a question was, does the child have to take it at a certain time? And this diagnostic, as of October 5th for elementary and October 19th for middle school, your child can start doing it at any time. They can do it in the evening if you want to be there to support them, and you're not able to be there during the class time. But also the teachers will provide time for our kids to do the assessment. So just wanted to make sure I was on target with that.
Yeah, so your classroom teacher hopefully has reached out. If not, I would expect it here very shortly to let you know kind of the plan for each site. All of the buildings are providing time windows for kids to work on it within the day. And all that really means is that there are teachers that are there live, ready to monitor instruction and help with problems. But we know that everyone's schedule is different as well. So if pieces need to happen asynchronously, we want to make sure that that's an option too. And like Michael said, the window's open for a long time. We're going to start with math and work, 15, 20 minutes at a time through the week to get that done. But the math stays open. So if kids need a little bit longer, they can, and then they can move on to the reading piece. Again, middle school is only math, though.
Yeah, question came up. They do have like class resumes. They have class on October 5th. It's, October 5th is not just for them to do the assessment. They'll have regular class. I think the only thing to note for those of you who are with us is that next Friday is the statewide teacher in-service day. So that's just traditionally been a day where kids don't have school. But otherwise in October, students have school.
Oh yeah, and most teachers, just like we would do if we were in our buildings, we just schedule time during the day where we would build time to take that diagnostic. The difference is that we won't be in the same room doing it together, right? So that time still exists. It's just teachers will be monitoring it in a different way.
Okay, I don't have any questions or hands raised, so we can, give a moment just in case there might be some last minute questions. But otherwise, thanks, Sarah, for your presentation. Okay, so we will, we'll make sure.
Hold on, we just had one pop up. How much time should the tests take? Hello, Sequoia. So the tests generally take anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes generally, knowing that some kids are going to finish quickly and some kids are going to finish, it's going to take longer to finish. I think the most important piece is just to know kids don't have to finish it in one session. So, I have a first grader at home. There's no way he can sit for 60 minutes to get it done. So we're going to work for 15 minutes one day. We're going to work maybe for 10 minutes the next day. The important thing is that kids are just working through it in a way that keeps them engaged and keeps them trying their hardest.
And my recommendation as a parent is generally if kids are struggling on the assessment, it does mean they probably have been doing pretty well, and it's not a big deal if they are hit that struggling point, because they may miss a few, and then it actually will get, it'll start kind of getting in, figuring out their level. So I think that's another important thing, is I think a hard part of distance learning with kids and their parents is that, they test us, I think, more than they do their teachers.
Very true.
Okay. I don't see any more questions, Sarah.
All right, so yeah, your students will learn about the assessment either tomorrow or Monday with their teachers. And I encourage you to check out the link that was dropped for iReady, the Family Center, because there's lots of information there too. And then if you do have questions at all, please feel free to reach out, and we're happy to help in any way we can.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Time. Thanks again, Sarah.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Jason, Andrea, Christine. Thank you to our interpreters, Ruth,
Yes, thank you.
Andre, Al, thank you.
Thank you so much.